How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 38 Chapter 2. This is Season 38 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 2. In this episode, we will be going back to one of the early methods of creating a glitch outlined in the complete series, in light of the last episode. Now, in the complete series, we talk about how one of the ways of creating glitches involves mirroring during a social conversation at inopportune times, breaking mirroring when it is appropriate. The goal of this endeavor was to create gateways at inappropriate times, and remove them when they are appropriate. Likewise, in Season 37 Chapter 9, we talk about how mirroring is used in new territory, in our non-consensual space, to cause integration. To summarize, when encountering someone from a new area where you have never been before, the other will mirror you, to the extent you comply with their expectations, and act aggressively, or territorially when you do not. The goal of this is to make you acquiesce or accede to their status, compelling postural releases, or deference. Now, secondary to that step, a dominant nearby will enforce the status quo by mirroring you in that state, in which you are subservient to the expectations of the tonic. Both parties of the process require mirroring at appropriate times. For example, if when you encounter some dominant after losing what is essentially a territorial contest, you act aggressively, dialectically, you can obviate the loss of territory to some tonic, and re-establish your social autonomy. The point is, that mirroring plays an essential role in the entire process by which you are integrated. And the reason for this is elaborated in Episode 1 of this season. Namely, through the appropriation of reinforcement. When you exist in a dominant state, your emotionality is subservient to the emotional stable state of the tonic. They acquire through this the reinforcement of their behaviors, their aims, their expectations. All of this means that, when you mirror the dominant who is subject to some tonic, rather than the tonic, with whom you had a territorial dispute, you are unconsciously conditioning yourself to acquiesce to the expectations of the tonic, acting out their impulses and desires. To draw back the last episode into the discussion, since your mind simulates both the higher meaning of physical movements and the motor movements themselves, the only thing missing from the automatic translation of that action into reinforcement of a behavior is A, the epigenetics or gene expression necessary to facilitate it, and B, the underlying genotype from which the behavior can be generated. So, it must be assumed that we all carry the latent ability to act as tonic, which is parsed out appropriately given social status. At which point mirroring becomes subservient to a social hierarchy. That is to say, we experience motor neuron activation pursuant to mirror neurons preferentially according to our social status. If we have acceded to the tonic, then we will exhibit mirror neuron activation preferentially with some dominant, rather than the tonic, in our encounters with the tonic. All of this is to say, that the appropriation of the reinforcement for certain behaviors or impulses follows the acquisition of status, which is recapitulated through integration created by mirroring some parallel dominant within the same social system. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.